We're visiting a private water garden to learn about keeping fish, and joining me is Mike Miller from Pond Pro Shop.
Thank you for having me, Kim.
Thank you. Now tell me a bit, a lot of people when they have a water garden, they want to have fish in it, and typically we're talking about koi or goldfish.
Koi or goldfish, either one, and sometimes they're referred to as the jewels of the water garden. So you really want to have that as well as all of the beautiful plants that you could have, as you see here. But there's some things you need to think about when you want to have fish.
I'm sure they're not just throw them in there and forget about it.
That's right.
I think the first thing is maybe how many fish can your garden support?
The current rule of thumb is 6 fish inches per 100 gallons of water.
Okay.
Now you can have more than that. You can violate that rule if you want to have the filtration to take care of it. But more than that, with average filtration, is going to cause problems in your pond.
Okay, so for the really intense water gardener who's going to be managing those filters, we could go ahead and increase that. But if you want it to be a little lower maintenance, you want to stick to that rule of thumb.
That's right.
That's
right.
6 inches
This
per
pond we're
gallon.
looking at has 3 different filters on it.
Okay.
So you can see that they actually want to take care of their heavy fish load by having multiple filters. And that's the way you get good water clarity and good water quality.
Other tips about keeping our fish healthy? Feeding them.
Yeah. You want to feed them a good quality food. I know a lot of people are budget conscious, and there are high quality foods that are still less expensive. If you're going to go to the local feed store and buy catfish food, though, be aware that that's mainly filler, and that's to make fish grow big, but not to be necessarily healthy.
Okay.
So you want to buy a good quality food with the right amount of protein, a little less in the summer, a little more in the winter.
Yeah.
We stop feeding fish once the water temps get down to 55 degrees.
Okay.
Their metabolism slows down and they just can't digest it.
Yeah, and then we're just putting excess waste into the water.
That's right.
What about predators? Do we need to take some extra precautions to protect the fish?
In a typical water garden, you would. If you make a beach area where the fish can get up near the side, then that asks predators to come and fish there. You want to have a sharp drop-off where a raccoon or other predator can't reach down in there.
Okay.
You want to have 2 feet of water so that a heron can't walk down in there and fish comfortably.
Okay. Now, some water gardens are designed with kind of a shallow, like beach entry, and we don't want to train our fish to come over there.
You showed a picture of a fish feeding earlier, and that's what they do. When they see movement up here and they know that you're there to feed them, they're going to come up to that shallow area. So you want to either feed them in the deep area or have it protected in a way that the predators can't get to them.
Okay. Now, other flying over predators that we might need to worry about?
Yes, during the spring and the fall, you for sure want to put a net over your pond unless it's really protected like this one is with a lot of foliage in order to keep those birds that are migrating north or south from stopping and having lunch at your house.
Well, Mike, fish obviously need oxygen just like any other animal. How can we make sure there's a good balance in the water for them?
You want to make sure that not only if you have a waterfall and stream is that water running down into the pond, that aerates it, but you also want to have aerators. And those are easy to install. The compressor sets outside the pond, and then you put an air stone in the bottom. This pond has a couple of different aerators in it. I see 4 of them going right there. Plus it has a long waterfall and stream, and that adds a lot of oxygen to the water.
The moving
as well.
water
That's
incorporates oxygen.
And then you mentioned moving water. That's a good mosquito deterrent as well, because mosquitoes will not breed. They won't lay their eggs in moving water, only in stagnant water. So you'd actually get more mosquitoes breeding in the saucers around your pot than you would in a water garden in your backyard.
I think that's a great point, because a lot of people think, oh, if I have a water garden, I have to worry a lot about the mosquitoes.
That's right.
I'm glad you pointed that out.
Really shouldn't, as long as you've got a lot of water movement going on, it'll be fine.
Now, one last thing, of course, fish are living organisms and they will breed. So at times they become overcrowded.
You need to bear in mind, koi will breed once a year, and goldfish will spawn twice a year. So they're going to grow an average of 2 inches a year. So if you start off with a 6-inch fish, next year you're going to have an 8-inch, and the next year a 10-inch, and the next year a 12-inch. So you can tell these fish are fairly old. They're well acclimated to their pond, and as I pointed out, they've got lots of filtration and lots of aeration, so they can handle this fish load. Normally, you don't want to have more than that 6 fish inches per 100 gallons, though.
So at times you have to cull them and maybe find a new home for
That's
them.
right. Join a water garden society near your home and share them with the people who are just starting in the pond hobby.
That's a great idea. Well, thank you so much, Mike.
Thank you for having me, Kim.